Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jonathan Smith. I want to talk to you today about what the housing market has been doing the last few weeks. I got three things I'm going to bring to you today. The first thing we're going to talk about is the market competition, the housing market competition. Second, we're going to talk about interest rates, what's really going on back there. And third, I know you're wondering, is this 2008 all over again? And I'm going to bring that to you coming up. So first, we're going to talk about housing competition. So one of the first ways that we're going to look at what kind of competition you're going to be facing, whether you're a buyer or a seller, is what is the average days on market before a house goes from being put on the market to being sold. And right now we're at 75 days on the market. Now what does that mean for you? If it's a seller's market, it's anything under 90 days on market. So being that we're at 75 days, it is a slight seller's market. So if you're a seller, you have less competition on the sales side. And if you're a buyer, you're still going to have to work to get a home accepted. In a seller's market, prices are going up. At 75 days, you're seeing a slight increase in value, every year. Before, back in 2020, 2021, we were at about 20 days on market. So you can see we've slowed a lot, so we're not going to see the huge increase that we saw before, but there is still going to be an increase as long as the days on market remains at 90 days or below. Housing inventory has actually gone down about 1% over the last 2 weeks. So we saw inventory kind of come up, it peaked, and now it's back on its way down. So you could probably expect that for the rest of the year, your options are going to get less and less until we get to the end of the new year, and then we'll see housing inventory come back up. An interesting thing that happened in the last 4 to 6 weeks is we've actually seen the amount of buyer demand going up. In fact, we've noticed about a 1% increase in buyer demand every 2 weeks for the last 6 weeks. So we've slowly seen it kind of going up. So what does that mean? We have housing shortage. We're having less houses come on the market and more buyers. So that's going to lead to an increase in the amount of seller market that we're looking at and an increase in values. So you're going to want to pay attention to that over the next few weeks and see if the supply continues to go down and to see if the buyer demand continues to go up. Now, what are interest rates doing? Well, at the beginning of the year, we were at about 3.25% interest rate. Today, we're at just under 6%. So that's almost double the interest rate that we were at earlier this year. And that might be a little bit concerning to you, especially if you're a buyer, because you're looking at buying a house and the interest rate is higher, meaning your payment is higher. Now, why is it that the interest rates have gone up so much? Well, at the beginning of the year, we started to get really high inflation numbers, and the federal government has decided they want to tamp down the inflation, and the way that they really are able to do that is by increasing interest rates. So you're going to see credit card interest rates going up, your used car and new car interest rates are going up, and also housing interest rates are going up, and they've been up. And this has actually slowed down the housing market. Obviously, if we're at 20 days on market before, and now we're at 75, that's quite a bit longer of a situation. But you might be asking yourself, why is it that interest rates are going up and the market has slowed a little bit, but we're still in a seller's market? Why is that? Well, an interesting thing that I was told was homeowners might not be in love with their house, but homeowners are in love with their loan. I mean, think about it. If you didn't like your house that much and you decided to upgrade to something a little nicer, not only are you looking at probably paying more for your next house, but you're also going to have an even higher interest rate. So that's going to compound on each other, and you're going to have an even higher monthly mortgage payment. And that's actually deterring a lot of sellers from even selling their house because they either can't afford or don't want to pay the extra amount. So that means your inventory is not going to continue to go up at the same rate that it would have. And so buyer demand is down, but seller demand is also down. And so because of that, we're still kind of in that slightly seller's market area. And the last thing I hear all the time is this like 2008? We're in a recession. The market is in a recession technically, but it's not a housing-led recession. You see, in 2008, we had a lot of things like bad mortgages, stated income mortgages, adjustable rate mortgages where they doubled in 1 year. We had negative amortization where you're making your monthly payment and your balance is actually going up instead of getting paid down. There were a lot of other things in the market where the loans and the housing was actually unstable. And so the whole recession was actually focused on housing. The housing was the reason that we were in a recession because everything started collapsing. Okay, but here's an interesting thing. Only 2 out of the last 6 recessions were led by housing or actually had a decrease in the housing price. Only 2 out of the last 6. So that means 4 out of the last 6 housing prices continued to go up during a recession. That's very important to pay attention to. Just because we're in a recession does not mean housing goes down in price. So continue to follow along. We're going to continue to see how the market evolves. Every 2 weeks I'm going to come to you with an exactly the same report so that we could stay on top of this and you could stay fully informed. I look forward to catching you on the next one. Like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments on this, questions, maybe you don't agree with me, maybe you have a different point of view, go ahead and put it down in the comments below, and I look forward to catching you on the next one.